Lab 3, the Geneva CAM. We're going to go through creating the assembly drawing for this Geneva CAM Assembly. And what we're going to do is draw the parts in Solidworks. Once we have those parts, we're going to create what's called an assembly drawing. And that assembly drawing is going to look like this. Or actually, this is the assembly model. And let's get started. So if we look at the Solidworks guide, there is a training guide located in this module. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by inserting this base down here at the bottom. And so we'll start a new assembly. And then we'll insert the base. So we'll say File, New, Assembly, OK. And then we will browse and locate the files for the parts that we drew. I'm going to open the base, and I'm going to set up the view so that I can see the origin. And then as I bring this part in, I'm going to drop it on that origin. Okay, so the first part in the assembly has been inserted into the drawing. There's a little letter F here, which means that the part is fixed and cannot move. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to insert the next component, which is going to be the drive. And so we're going to insert this component. So we'll go to the Insert Components, Insert Component, we'll browse, we'll get the drive, we'll open that, and then we can place that on the drawing right there. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to insert the dowel. And so we're going to say Insert Components, Browse, Dowel, Open, and we'll just drop this right here. Once we have the dowel inserted, then what we're going to do is we're going to work on mating these parts so that they fit together. And we'll start off by mating the pin to the hole. And a mate is kind of like glue, where you're basically gluing these two different parts together. And so we select the paperclip or the mate selection. And then in this blue box, we'll tell it what to mate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say mate this cylinder here with this cylinder here. And SolidWorks will give you what it considers the best solution. And so it's said that this is going to be concentric, which means that the two parts are going to lay right on top of each other, and that's fine. We could also use concentric. Once we have that, we're going to do the same thing from the bottom of it. We're going to go back to mate. We're going to select this arc right here, and then this circle right here, and then we'll green check mark that, and I should have mated the bottom first, so let me undo that. So I'm going to mate the bottom of the drive with the top, and that will be coincident. And then I'm going to mate the circular feature with this circular feature. And it's going to line those up concentric. And now, spacebar, isometric view, Now I can move this part and it'll rotate within the degrees of freedom that I've provided. Okay, now that we've gone through and we've mated those parts, as you can see from the instructions, we're going to go in and insert the spacer, and then we're going to mate that, and then we're going to insert the Geneva CAM, or the wheel, on top of that. Switching back to Solidworks, insert component, browse, spacer, open. And then I'm going to mate that, and so I'll say mate, and I'm going to push the wheel on the mouse and mate it from the bottom to the top, which will make these flat and even, and that would be a coincident mate. So I'll green check mark that. And then I'll do the circular geometry. So I'll mate that, that, and then we get a concentric mate. Zoom all, zoom to fit. Insert components, browse, wheel. So there's our wheel, and we'll create the same mates. So again, we'll mate a coincident mate by selecting the bottom face, and you'll notice it's a face, which is, if you look at the arrow next to the arrow for the selection, there's a square. And why the reason it's a square is because it's taking a face versus an edge, which you can see there. So we're going to mate this face with this face. So it's on top of there, or it's even with it, or coincident. And then we're going to do the same thing for the circular geometry, where we're going to make the mate selection, this circular and this, and we'll green check mark that. And then we can kind of put these in place. There isn't really enough time to go into actually going through and creating a mechanical mate at this level. I would say this would be like a level 1 assembly drawing that we're working on right now. And so what we'll do from here is we'll save the file and then create a drawing in the next video. And that completes how to create an assembly. So you do a save as, rebuild and save, and then I'll put my initials on it. And that completes this video.